Brutal Beauties, please report to the track. We are about ready to get this thing underway for the second bout. We need the Brutal Beauties. Thank you. All right, Derby fans, welcome back to the action here at the Hall of Dames. Are you ready for more hard-hitting Derby action? Now that you're ready and all warmed up, let's try that again. Hello, Derby fans, welcome back to the Hall of Dames. Are you ready for more Derby action? Thank you. That was satisfactory. I'm your announcer, Old Greg. Welcome back to Arizona's only live bank track roller derby here at the Hall of Dames.
And I'm Kills Bill. We saw a great first game, and now get ready for the second one. The always gorgeous Brutal Beauties are playing the always dead Coffin Draggers. Just one more reminder, no whistling is allowed as it interrupts the game. Keep your hands, feet, arms, and everything else outside of the track for your safety. With that being said, let's get this show started.
Now taking the track for introductions, it's the Brutal Beauties. Skating tonight for the Beauties, number 5150, Alibi. Number 26, Beautiful Trauma. Number 244, Dammit Jammit. Number 011, Hit Tori Hanzo. Number 440, Morning Madness. Number 2323, Quiver Phoenix. Number 666, Witchy Woman. Number 42, Irish Car Bomb. Number 93, Harlot Letter. Number 817, Bitch Please. Number 22, Impaler Swift. And number 2187, your co-captain, Princess Leia. Helping the team on the bench tonight, our bench coach, your captain, Kimber Slice, penalty manager, Gash Wednesday. Not skating tonight for the Brutal Beauties, number 103, Abby Arsenic, number 480, Death Midler, number 9, MK3, Gypsy Danger, number 602, Lady Macbeth, number 97, Rigamaroo, number 717, Rocky Horror, number 731, Turbo Torture. That's the Brutal Beauties.
And now introducing the prettiest girls in the morgue, your Coffin Draggers. And skating tonight for your Coffin Draggers, number 616, Craven Cadavers. 101, Devil's Advocate. Number 8, Ginger Mortis. Number 651, Grace Ventura. Number 27, Laura Stabs. 7780, she's Moxie Mausoleum. 1012, Skeletina. Number 7, The Destroyer. Number 217, Vava Doom. 1890, Victoria Van Gore. 7656, Zombaby. Number 30, Zora La Bruja. Your co-captain, number 23, Tyranny. Devachka DeLarge, number 6553, running tonight. And your captain, number 80803, the Panda Face Killer. Helping the team out on their bench tonight are the bench coach, Ridiculous, penalty managers, Beverly Kills, and not skating tonight, 1029, Reckless Rose.
We are ready to get things going. Let's hear it from the fans. Who's here to cheer on the Coffin Draggers? And who's here to cheer on the Brutal Beauties? Who's just here in hopes both teams have fun? Yeah, there you go. Stepping up to the line, it is Tyranny, number 23, and Princess Leia, number 2187 for the Beauties. Your co-captains together out there, and the game is underway. And emerging from the pack, Tyranny is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. A little bit of subterfuge there. Took the star cover off, but didn't pass it. Just put it back on. Tyranny now up to the pack, taking advantage of a staggered pack to get by some skaters and calls off the jam.
Witchy Woman coming to the line for the Beauties. That's Devil's Advocate out there for the Draggers. Draggers picked up 3 points on that jam.
We are underway in this jam. Witchy Woman bumped down to the infield. Devil's Advocate towards the front of the pack now, trying to find a way by those last blockers, but they have formed a wall. However, they get pushed far enough out of play, and they have to stop blocking. Devil's Advocate is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Trying to fight her way through the pack is Witchy Woman as Devil's Advocate approaches the pack now on her first scoring pass. To the high side, middle of the pack now, Devil's Advocate trying to find her way through. Those last blockers for the Brutal Beauties are trying to stay in her way, and Witchy Woman now out of the pack. Devil's Advocate still unable to get by. And finally calls off the jam after breaking through that wall finally.
And skating for the first time tonight, Quiver Phoenix coming out jamming for the Beauties. Victoria Van Gore on the line for the Coffin Draggers.
Victoria Van Gore finds a lane down the opening, and she is your lead jammer once again for the Coffin Draggers. Quiver Phoenix out of the pack as well. Now Victoria Van Gore trying to follow the lead of her blocker there. Excellent opening created by Zombaby. And Victoria Van Gore followed her blocker to the front of the pack, picked up her 4 points, and called it off.
Skeletina and Alibi coming to the line now. Alibi skating for the first time tonight. Skeletina gets right out of the pack, gets those blockers all out of the way. Alibi held back behind a 4-wall of Coffin Draggers.
Skeletina able to find her way through the pack on a scoring pass, coming around for more. And Skeletina right through the pack there with that pivot, also out there looking for somebody to hit. Skeletina gets on through the pack and is now coming around for number 3 with 15 seconds left in this jam. Alibi having all kinds of trouble trying to find her way out of the pack, ridden down to the infield again by that pivot of the Coffin Draggers, Grace Ventura. Excuse me, the pivot is Devil's Advocate, that is. Either way, a lot of points there for the Coffin Draggers. Wait for the official score here. And it's going to be a 14-point jam for the Coffin Draggers. Nearly doubles their score up to 25. Vava Doom now jamming for the Coffin Draggers.
Princess Leia.
And for the Brutal Beauties, that's Princess Leia, your acting captain. And we did have a pass of the star cover, but Princess Leia able to blast out of the pack and take lead jammer. That was Tyranny taking the star cover for the Coffin Draggers and taking over as jammer. Princess Leia picks up a ghost point and that point at the back of the pack and calls that one off.
And the Brutal Beauties are on the board.
1 point for the Brutal Beauties. Now setting up the jam. That is going to be
Morning Madness for the Brutal Beauties.
And the Destroyer. Yeah, the Destroyer jamming now, number 7 for the Coffin Draggers. And Destroyer, there goes Des, and she is out of the pack, and she's your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Matt is trying to work her way through that tough dragger wall of black, and she breaks her way through.
The Destroyer now runs into the pack there along the front straightaway, trying to find her way through, gets to the inside. And the instruction comes from the bench to call it off, and she does. 4 more points for the Coffin Draggers. We got 9 minutes to go here in the first quarter. They've jumped out to a 29-1 lead. And we do have our first power jam of this second game this evening. Tyranny now, number 23, is on the line by herself. There was a penalty called on the Beauties jammer there in the last jam. So Tyranny out there now is the only one that can score points for the Coffin Draggers and a chance for them to build on their lead. We have had another pass of the star. Everybody's aware of it. Victoria Van Gore has taken the star cover and is trying to fight her way out. 35 seconds to go here in the power jam. Victoria Van Gore is still trying to find her way through, able to get by Quiver Phoenix there and put it on her head. So Victoria Van Gore, now your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Coffin Draggers now have one of the Brutal Beauties pinned in behind them, so they're going to hold up the pace of play here. Victoria Van Gore trying to find some way through. Ten seconds to go in the power jam. Victoria Van Gore still not emerged from the pack on her scoring pass. Excellent penalty kill here by the Brutal Beauties. Victoria Van Gore finally out. The Brutal Beauties kept the damage to a minimum there in the power jam. Only 5 points for the Coffin Draggers. Good defense by the Brutal Beauties.
Skeletina and Witchy Woman coming to the line to jam right now.
And
Beauties are down one blocker.
Witchy Woman going up against Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers. Skeletina to the front, finds her way through, and she's your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Witchy Woman pushing against a 4-wall of those Coffin Dragger blockers.
And there goes Witchy Woman emerging from the pack to a cheer from the Brutal Beauties supporters here in the crowd. So she's going to try to force the issue here. Skeletina sees that, calls off the jam.
Witchy Woman able to sneak through the door. They open for Skeletina to get out.
We've got Tyranny jamming for the Coffin Draggers, and it's going to be Princess Leia for the Brutal Beauties. We have had another star pass passed ahead to the pivot. It looks like that's going to be a regular in the playbook of the Coffin Draggers tonight. And that is number 217 taking over for the Coffin Draggers.
Vava Doom.
Vava Doom is your jammer.
And she weaves her way through that pack, making it look easy.
And now, thanks to a block thrown by her pivot, Quiver Phoenix, we've got Princess Leia out of the pack as well. Vava Doom now catching up, checking around to see where that Brutal Beauties jammer is. It goes ahead and calls it off after running into some defense there in the back of the pack. Vava Doom picks up 5 points there.
Jammer down, I got a power jam. 2. Green's got a power jam.
Looks like the Beauties picked up a jammer penalty on that jam. We got a power jam coming for the Coffin Draggers.
Devil's Advocate out there to do the jamming now. One of the better jammers in the whole league, one of our better jammers on the hot shots as well, is Devil's Advocate. Now emerges from the pack, and she is out and clear. Once again, only the Coffin Draggers can score points here. And their whole offense is predicated around getting their jammer through as many times as possible. But there's a block there. Those last 2 blockers for the Brutal Beauties not throwing in the towel during this power jam, but they get pushed out of play, and they have to stop blocking once they get more than 20 feet from the pack. But they ate up some time off the clock, and that's part of the penalty kill. So here comes Devil's Advocate. Up to the high side again, now routed down to the infield, but the blockers again called out of play, so now they have to wait for the pack to catch up very slowly. Devil's Advocate gets by on the inside, windmilling her arms, and keeps her balance on her next scoring pass.
There. Quiver Phoenix coming to the line to jam now for the Brutal Beauties. Victoria Van Gore out there.
That was a 15-point power jam for the Coffin Draggers. They've really put a lot of points on the board during their power jam so far here in the first quarter, of which there is 4 minutes and 25 seconds left. And emerging from the pack, it's going to be a jammer race. Both jammers out. It looks like for the moment, lead jammer was Quiver Phoenix, and she goes ahead and calls off the jam with Victoria Van Gore making up a lot of ground. So next up the jam is going to be Skeletina. And Skeletina is going up against Hittori Hanzo. Hittori Hanzo is jamming for the first time this evening. They're both out. We did have another star pass for the Coffin Draggers, so taking over as jammer is Devil's Advocate. And there they go. Devil's Advocate picks up her points and calls it off.
I know, right? And here comes Tyranny and Princess Leia out of the line. Beauties are down 1 blocker. Fast-paced first quarter here. Only 3 minutes left. Tyranny dancing along the coping and able to get out. Tierney coming up on the back of the pack. She starts making her way through. Princess Leia getting bounced around, and she gets out. Tierney put a little defensive jamming on for her. Tierney going to try to find one more point in this mix. Calls it off.
Seven points for the Coffin Draggers there. Now setting up the jam, it's going to be Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. Witchy Woman for the Brutal Beauties.
Devil's Advocate tries for the middle. He's able to get out real easily. Beauties try a panty pass, and they get out. Alibi's got the star, and she's off to the races. Beauty's walling up as Devil's Advocate comes through. Witchy Woman takes Devil's Advocate to the rail, and the jam is called off.
3 points there for the Coffin Draggers as they add to their lead. At the line now, it's Vava Doom for the Coffin Draggers and Damn It Jam It for the Brutal Beauties. Underway and down to the inside. Both jammers go trying to find an opening. Damn it, jam it now, trying to look up towards the rail. Down to the inside again. Vava Doom able to emerge from the pack, and she's your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Jam it knocked to the infield in turn two. Vava Doom's coming around to the pack. Start her scoring pass. Jamet's fighting that three wall. Panda Face Killer, Zombaby.
Pack has lost its definition like a hurricane turning into the Atlantic jet stream. Trying to find their way through. Damn it, jam it now crawling along on the rail. 15 seconds to go in the jam, and Damn it, jam it emerges from the pack. Vava Doom gets back up, establishes on the track, and calls off the jam. 2 points for Vava Doom there. Looks like setting up the jam now, it's going to be Morning Madness for the Brutal Beauties and Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers.
Might be the last jam of this quarter.
Both jammers still struggling to get out. There's a solid wall of pink jerseys in the front that are keeping Skeletina hemmed in. Meanwhile, Morning Madness now trying to sneak along the outside. And it emerging at roughly the same time, both jammers. Skeletina goes ahead and calls off the jam. It was going to be a jammer race back to the pack. That is going to do it for the first quarter. Game Executioner Magnificent Moose lets us know quarter break. So no timeouts. It zips right by. And we are going to go ahead and get into the second quarter countdown. So 5 minutes. Five-minute break here until we start the first quarter. And here comes our merchandise crew, members of our minor assaults making their way around. So hoot and holler, wave, they will throw you. Looks like we got some shirts going on. There's a toss in the back straightaway. The front straightaway, she's making you work for it. And with a big old overhand throw back towards the back rows of the front straightaway.
All right, folks, get your pink raffle tickets out. Pink raffle tickets, number 588-689 and number 588-535. Come on down. 588-689, 588-535. Come down and get some merch. All right.
We are underway here in the second quarter. Your score right now, Coffin Draggers 75, Brutal Beauties 1. Witchy Woman is your lead jammer for the Brutal Beauties. They have started this second quarter off and taken lead jam in the first jam. Witchy Woman up to a solid wall of black jerseys and calls off the jam.
Way over there. Okay.
Quiver Phoenix coming to the line with Devil's Advocate.
Quiver Phoenix has been excused from duty. We did have a penalty called on the Brutal Beauties jammer there in the previous jam. The Brutal Beauties put 2 more points on the board, though, and did pick up a couple of points. But we're going to have, before we get to that, a
We're gonna talk
timeout.
this over. Tonight's Derby action brought to you by Lost Dutchman Tattoo. Tattoo shop specializing in various styles, from realism to traditional. You can customize your own tattoo if you want. Walk-ins are accepted. They're located at 4121 North 19th Avenue, the east side of 19th Avenue, just north of Indian School.
We'd also like to let you know about your options at halftime. We will double check and see about which food trucks are sticking around for the second halftime of the evening, but one of our sponsors of the year is the Off the Hook Taco Truck. They're here for almost all the bouts. Locally owned and operated taco truck. Serving SoCal and Baja-inspired cuisine, they have chicken and vegetarian options too, not just fish. Visit them outside for some delicious food. It's Off the Hook Taco Truck.
One of our other league sponsors, Plague Fitness, providing those infected by fitness, roller derby, and healthy living with clothing for that contagious lifestyle. Visit their website at www.plaguedfitness.com.
Siphon Draw Apothecary Shop. It's an all-natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare product producer. Those products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. You can visit them at the Goldfield Ghost Town on historic Highway 88.
Be sure to visit the Arizona Derby Dames snack bar. Grab yourself a cold beverage or a snack. All proceeds go back into the league, and your support is greatly appreciated. That's the Arizona Derby Dames snack bar, located underneath the sign that says snack bar.
Another one of our league sponsors this season is Nutrition One School Lunch Program. Food is the energy that growing children need, providing healthy, great tasting, and freshly prepared whole foods to local schools valley-wide. Nutrition One works closely with the Department of Education and the USDA to make sure our children are getting what they need daily to stay focused and get the best out of their school lunch. That's Nutrition One School Lunch Program. And after review, the penalty is upheld, so the challenge is unsuccessful by the Brutal Beauties. So we will have a power jam here for the Coffin Draggers once we reconvene the action, which should take place any second here. So we will pick up where we left off before the challenge, and jamming for the Coffin Draggers here in this Coffin Dragger Power Jam is going to be number 101, Devil's Advocate. Tightly congested pack here. Brutal Beauties playing some good defense here on this power jam. It looks like those blockers, though, are pushed just far enough to be out of play, and Devil's Advocate emerges from the pack. Devil's Advocate with 30 seconds to go in the power jam is through the pack on a scoring pass. as the pack seems to have sort of stagnated here at the end of the back straightaway. I did see Dammit Jammit delivering Devil's Advocate down to the infield a couple of times there. Devil's Advocate now trying to find a way by on the outside. Flying butt there tried to be delivered by Princess Leia, but able to dodge it was Devil's Advocate. And it looks like before we proceed, there is going to be an official timeout. Reverend Knuckleface taking a tumble there. It's okay, buddy. When you get used to skating, you won't fall like that anymore. And we have stepped aside for a timeout. So with your score 83-3, we'll take a break from the action.
Still looking for 2 raffle tickets out there. If you got your pink raffle tickets, I got 2 numbers to call. Number 588-689. 588-689 and 588-535. Last chance for your socks.
And with that, after review by the regulators, there were 5 more points put on the board for the Coffin Draggers there. So, be 88-3 as we get ready for this next jam. Nobody in the penalty box. It's going to be Victoria Van Gore versus Alibi. Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers and Alibi for the Brutal Beauties. And emerging from the pack as your lead jammer is going to be Victoria Van Gore, placing the star cover back on her head.
Ginger Mortis, Zombaby, and Panda holding the Beauties jammer.
Big tumble. Irish car bomb ends up down on the infield there after trying to block Victoria Van Gore. Victoria Van Gore able to emerge from the pack. Pack is very staggered out at this point. Coffin Draggers really controlling the pace of play here during this jam. Meanwhile, the pack has come together. It looks like we have the star cover in the middle of a pass here, but the clock has expired. And another 10-point jam for the Coffin Draggers.
Princess Leia coming to the line, going to skate against Skeletina in this jam. Trauma coming off the track there. Both Skeletina and Princess Leia trying the high side along the rail. And Skeletina able to get by Jam. She's your lead jammer right now. Princess Leia still working her way through the pack. Impaler Swift trying to break up that dragger line. And Princess Leia gets out.
Skeletina through the pack on a scoring pass and goes ahead and calls off the jam. 4 points there for the Coffin Draggers. Coffin Draggers have pushed up over 100 points for the game, for the bout. And jamming now is going to be Tyranny for those Coffin Draggers and Morning Madness for the Brutal Beauties. And after we get the penalties sorted out, this jam is underway. Tyranny down to the inside, and Tyranny finds an opening. She's your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
And Morning Madness gets out of turn 2, about a half a track behind.
Tyranny finds her way through on the scoring pass and goes ahead and calls off the jam. 4 more points for the Coffin Draggers. And before we proceed, we do have a team timeout called by the Brutal Beauties. So, timeout pink. We will step aside for a few minutes while they talk over some of the action here.
While they talk about it, are you interested in being part of the roller derby community, but hitting people isn't your thing? Well, these regulators are always looking for dedicated and eager minds to learn our rule set and help keep our ladies on the track safe. Our regulator team accepts all gender types. There are various levels of officiating that go on during a roller derby bout. Come be a part of the action and help our league grow. Ask any skater or ref how to get involved.
And if you are a young lady between the ages of 10 and 17 who loves to skate, or do you know somebody who meets those simple criteria? Our Minor Assaults are a nonprofit 501c3 and are always looking for new skaters to join their team. Our coaches not only teach technique and knowledge of the sport, but they also help build leadership, teamwork, and problem-solving skills that'll help in life situations far beyond roller derby. Minor skating skills, dedication to learn, and a positive mental attitude are all that we require. Come see what all the fun is about. Ask any Arizona Derby Dame how to get involved or visit our website at azddinspire.org for information on donating or sponsoring the Minor Assaults.
All right, as the teams retake the track.
Looks like we are back underway. It's going to be Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers and Princess Leia for the Brutal Beauties. Princess Leia out to the outside and is able to find her way to the front of the pack for the Brutal Beauties and is your lead jammer.
Princess Leia able to get by the Draggers wall, coming around for a second pass. Devil's Advocate still having trouble getting by the wall of Brutal Beauties.
Big collision there. Everybody heard that one as Princess Leia down to her hands and knees hard. Blocked down there, really took a tumble. Trying to get her... Seeing if she can get through here also. There goes Devil's Advocate, and so Princess Leia calls off the jam with Devil's Advocate exiting the pack. But some points on the board for the Brutal Beauties. Brutal Beauties pick up 10 points.
Brutal Beauties down 2 blockers on this next jam. Alibi and Victoria Van Gore coming to the line to skate now. Draggers have all 4 blockers. Van Gore able to take the high side, dance right through. Draggers are holding that Beauties jammer as they recycle back around. Gore is able to get through the pack, and she's off to a second pass. Alibi knocked off the track and got a line up behind that Dragger wall. Van Gore dancing along by the rail this time. Draggers keeping this pack super slow. Van Gore finishes her 3rd scoring pass. And the clock runs out just as Alibi gets to try to get it out.
15 points for the Coffin Draggers. Building on their lead now, jamming is going to be number 27, Laura Stabs for the Coffin Draggers. And jamming for the Brutal Beauties is Quiver Phoenix. Laura Stabs blasts her way right through the pack, and she is out and clear as the lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Quiver Phoenix knocked to the infield there. Hung up behind Devil's Advocate.
Laura Stab's able to find her way through there from the low side to the high side, coming out of the corner, right through the pack without losing any of her momentum. Quiver Phoenix out of the pack as well, so that'll force the issue here. Laura Stab's able to call the bluff of that last blocker and got right on by without getting bumped. And 9 big points for Laura Stab's and the Coffin Draggers.
Hitori Hanzo returns to the line for the Brutal Beauties. And Gore is back out there for the Coffin Draggers.
And Victoria Van Gore was offering that star cover forward, trying to get a star pass executed, but ended up pulling it back and put it on. And Victoria Van Gore's your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers now. 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go until halftime. Victoria Van Gore gets through the pack, almost all the way through the pack, but bumped off to the infield, gets up and reestablishes behind Irish Carbomb, trying to get past those last 2 blockers there, and they put her on the ground. But they get pushed out of play, and Victoria Van Gore is through on a scoring pass. With 15 seconds left to go in this jam, here comes Victoria Van Gore now mid-pack trying to find her way through. Hitori Hanzo still trying to get through at the very back of the pack. Victoria Van Gore goes ahead and calls it off. And the Coffin Draggers pick up 8 points. Looks like we're going to have the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers. And for the Brutal Beauties, it is Princess Leia. And down to the inside, the Destroyer worked her way down along that wall of blockers, and Dez is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Destroyer takes along the high side, along the rail, and she makes a complete pass, coming back around for seconds. Princess Leia gets out of the pack finally. People spilling all around. Destroyer calls off the jam after a second complete pass. 9 points for the Coffin Draggers there.
Looks like we're going to have Laura Stabs jamming again for the Coffin Draggers, and for the Brutal Beauties, it is going to be Morning Madness. And both jammers escorted down to the infield there by blockers. And Laura Stabs able to keep her skates there, weaves her way on through along the inside of the corner, and is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Lap jammer. Got all of them.
Laura Stabs dancing and skating backwards through the pack, collecting her points and coming back for more.
Lap jammer again.
Jumps the coping.
Coaching third scoring pass.
Catching up to the pack now, Laura Stabs trying to get a few more points. We will wait for the official score there and find out what she was able to do on that last scoring pass. A cheer goes up from the Laura Stabs fan club here in the far turn.
Looks like we've got a power jam coming. Skeletina out there to skate that power jam for the Coffin Draggers. The Beauties have all their blockers, though. Both teams have a full complement of blockers.
Skeletina trying to find her way through the pack. Now, right up the middle of the pack, once again, there's a full complement of blockers out there. Stout defense being played here. We're halfway through the power jam. And still not clear of the pack is Skeletina trying to get her way through. Those Brutal Beauties are definitely giving it everything they got, trying to keep her pinned in. Trying to find her way to the outside now and find her way around that pivot, but doing battle there, hanging on and doing battle is Quiver Phoenix wearing that pivot stripe. 10 seconds to go in the power jam, and the blockers are called out of play. So Skeletine is out of the pack, but the clock's going to run out on the jam before she gets around. So that'll do it. CJ. Yeah. Set now for the next jam. It looks like it's going to be Hitori Hanzo for the Brutal Beauties and Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers.
Van Gore gets out on the high side. Hitori Hanzo hung up on the rail. Fighting that tough line with Moxie Mausoleum and Panda Face Killer. Coffin Draggers continue to recycle in front of that Beauties jammer. Zombaby and Panda Face Killer holding her now. And Van Gore finishes another scoring pass. And Hitori Hanzo hit to the infield.
And that is going to do it for that jam, and it appears that that is also going to do it for the first half. Indeed, here comes Magnificent Moose to let us know. So we are going to take a break for halftime. Coffin Draggers 174, Brutal Beauties 13. We've got a few special things planned for you during this halftime period, so we will not quite yet set how much time there will be before halftime. We're going to set the clock for 30 minutes just to give us something to keep an eye on. But it won't be that long, so don't wander too far. And as I said, I'd love to direct your attention down to the infield here very shortly.
Huh? Oh, thank you. Take that. Hello. Can everybody hear me? Sweet. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. My name is Nikki Badass. Oh, you guys are so nice. I love you too. Shut up. So I have a couple things that I want to, actually a few things that I want to give away. For those of you who have been here before when we have given these away, we have these things called MFT hats. And these are hats that you cannot purchase. These hats are given to people for their hard work and dedication to this league. And living the league team self mentality for what we have created here. So there are a few people tonight that I would like to give these hats to. First, Bobby Ross, who just so happens to be my coach for the Scrappers. Bobby Ross is, he is the one that has donated all of our signs to us. He takes care of all of our coolers. He spends a lot of time at this warehouse for all of us. So we wanted to thank you very much for that. Yes, absolutely. Next, Lollipop. Lollipop has been with us for quite a while. She also helps out with the minor assaults. Her daughter is one of them. And we very much appreciate all of the dedication that you have for this league and the time that you spend here.
Wow, thank you.
Next on my list is Everett. Everett has been with the league for how many years now? Shoot, day one. Day one. He has laid flat tracks for us before we were ever bank track. He has spent countless hours for all of us and the future of what this league is, and we thank you. And I have one more hat to give out. Knuckle face. This is Knuckleface's last bout. I know, I think boo too, right? Knuckleface has done such a fantastic job with the 8+ years you've been here, correct? Yep. He is a fantastic ref and has helped so much with everything, and you will be greatly missed. You are an amazing person, and we want to show you our gratitude. So, all right, halftime. Congratulations, guys. Thank you for all of your hard work and dedication.
Put your hands together, giving out a t-shirt here. Got the minor assaults out there on the track. Let's make some noise. Who wants a t-shirt? think everybody who's here is here. Hey, folks, while I have your attention, please get those pink raffle tickets out. I got a couple raffle numbers I'm going to call off one more time. Number 588, 658, and number 588, 664. That's 658 and 664. Come on over here and pick up your prize.
All right, Derby fans, we are back to the action, and we're going to get things going here in this second half. Right now, your score, Coffin Draggers 174, Brutal Beauties 13. Taking the jammer line for this first jam of the second half, it's number 101, Devil's Advocate, and number 011, Hittori Hanzo. Looks like we're all set. Everything is sorted out. We are ready to get this jam underway. And there we go. Right along the inside there, leaping over the outstretched leg of a blocker. That was Devil's Advocate. And she's your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Devil's Advocate down to the inside there. More fancy skate work from Devil's Advocate on the scoring pass. Hittori Hanzo out of the pack as well. And that's going to do it for that jam. It looks like Devil's Advocate calling off the action there after her second scoring pass. 9 points for the Coffin Draggers.
Quiver Phoenix coming to the line to jam for the Brutal Beauties. And Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers.
Victoria Van Gore down to the inside and clear of the pack, and is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. And a big collision there. Victoria Van Gore running into a couple of the blockers for the Brutal Beauties there at the entrance to the back straightaway. Looked like Princess Leia and Beautiful Trauma were there to deliver the blow as Victoria Van Gore trying to make her way through and emerges from the pack. 25 seconds to go in the jam.
Panda Face Killer and Zombaby holding up Quiver Phoenix there. Quiver Phoenix gets by him, gets out though.
And I do hear a penalty being called out on the jammer for the Brutal Beauties there in the last jam. So power jam for the Coffin Draggers now. Coffin Draggers will be doing the power jam thing. And doing the honors is going to be Devil's Advocate.
Going to have a crowded pack on this jam. Both teams are full blockers. Devil's Advocate takes it right up the middle and gets out.
And Devil's Advocate trying to get through along the inside there, lost her balance and down to the track surface, but back up now. Gets those blockers pushed far enough out of play and continues on her way.
Four Draggers still holding the Beauties jammer back. Keeping the pack as slow as possible. Devil's Advocate able to make as many passes as she can.
That's going to do it for the jam. We will wait for the official scoring. It's a 15-point power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Pushes them up over 200 for the bout. 2:08 to 13 with 11 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter. It's going to be Princess Leia for the Brutal Beauties, and for the Coffin Draggers, that's the Destroyer. It is not the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers. It's Laura Stabs. Laura Stabs dropped the star, had to go backwards to pick it up, so that's going to result in a penalty. No going backwards on the bank track. Princess Leia out of the pack for the Brutal Beauties. The star was passed over to Tyranny for the Coffin Draggers. But as I mentioned, there is going to be a power jam for the Brutal Beauties. But first, we are going to take a moment. The regulators need to talk that one over and figure out exactly what's going to happen there with the star cover being dropped. Had to go backwards to get it to proceed forward, so regulators going to talk this one over, make sure they've got it all sorted out. Don't forget to mark your calendar. Season 14 continues with our next bout on January 5th. The prize is a doubleheader and will feature home teams from the Arizona Derby Dames. The Runaway Brides are battling these very self-same Coffin Draggers in the first game. And the second game is going to be the Minor Assaults and some of your favorite hotshots in a mentorship mashup. That's all right here at the House of Dames. First Saturday in January. Saturday, January 5th, 6 p.m.
Tell you about Siphon Draw Apothecary Shop, all natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. Visit them in the Goldfield Ghost Town and off of historic Highway 88.
Are you interested in being a season sponsor for the Arizona Derby Dames? We have different sponsor packages available to suit your needs with many benefits to choose from. Find any Arizona Derby Dame today and they can point you in the right direction for sponsorship questions and information on how to become a sponsor. Devastation is your go-to shop for everything on wheels. From the raddest of rad roller skates to the bomb.com light-up wheels spinning on slicker than slick ball bearings. Let Devastation help you find the perfect ride and gear to keep you protected while you're cruising. Offering nearly everything skate-related, from nuts and stops to tools and bags on flashy wheels. Come check out the skate ninjas that are slinging them unicorn boots. Devastation.com, or stop by their warehouse at 2010 East University Drive in Tempe. We are ready to get back to the action here. Alibi is going to be jamming for the Brutal Beauties. Once again, a penalty called on Laura Stabs for illegal procedure there. So Alibi is your lead jammer for the Brutal Beauties. The only jammer out there, it's a power jam. And now the Coffin Draggers are going to try to push the pace of play here and see if they can keep the pack moving. Alibi now mid-pack, trying to find her way through up to the front of the pack. Now she runs into that Coffin Dragger defense at the front of the pack, trying to find her way through and pick up some points. Got past the first blocker. Now they've got the first blocker hemmed in at the back. They call that a goat. And Alibi able to get those front blockers pushed far enough out of play, and it emerges from the pack after picking up some points. 12 seconds to go here in the power jam. Here comes Alibi now, and it looks like the Coffin Dragger is going to try to push this pace here, see if they can keep Alibi from catching up to him with 3 seconds to go. Alibi tries to the high side. We'll see how many points she was able to pick up.
Beautiful Trauma coming out to skate to jam for the Brutal Beauties right now. Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers.
Beautiful Trauma jamming for the first time this evening for the Brutal Beauties. And we have had a star pass. That star was passed on forward. It looks like Tyranny has picked it up. And Tyranny is now your jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Beautiful Trauma still hemmed in at the back of the pack. Tyranny down to the inside and just bumped off onto the infield. And Tyranny through the pack on her first scoring pass. Coming around again for more with 20 seconds to go in the jam. And your jammer for the Brutal Beauties still hemmed in the back. Panda Face Killer doing work there in the back end of the pack and making sure the Beautiful Trauma gets bumped down to the infield every time she tries to make her way through. And the jam is called off. So an official timeout. Magnificent Moose has called the timeout. We do have a challenge coming from the Brutal Beauties. Situation that we have here is that it was going to be what's called a double jammer down, meaning penalties on both jammers, which would result in no power jam for the Beauties. It looks like the Beauties are going to challenge a penalty call. And challenge was called by the Coffin Draggers, actually. Looks like they're pointing the other way now. So Coffin Draggers have called the challenge. And obviously they are trying to get their own jammer back on the track and pick up a power jam situation.
Hey folks, did you know that 40% of youth experiencing homelessness identify as LGBTQ? 1 in 10 envisions a world where all LGBTQ youth and young adults are embraced for who they are, and they're actively engaged in their communities and empowered to lead. 1 in 10 provides housing, health and wellness, education, and employment and empowerment to youth ages 14 to 24. Stop by their booth to check out ways to get involved or to visit their Diva Tree here, just outside the Hall of Dames ticket booth. Grab a tag to help make the holiday a little bit brighter for the youth in your community. That's 1 in 10.
Another one of our popular league sponsors is Copper Star Coffee. They're a locally owned coffee shop and cafe providing hand-blended drinks and award-winning baked goods. They're on the southwest corner of 7th Avenue in Heatherbrae, just north of Indian School Road. It's Copper Star Coffee. And the challenge from the Coffin Draggers. Challenge is upheld. Penalty is upheld. Challenge not successful. So we do have a double jammer down. Penalties on both jammers in the last jam means that no power jam at all. So it's going to be Morning Madness for the Brutal Beauties and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. And there we go, Devil's Advocate able to break out of the pack.
Madness gets out there in this turn 2. Sorry.
It's okay. And Devil's Advocate calls it off.
All right, Laura Stabs back out there on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. Princess Leia is on the line for your Brutal Beauties. Princess Leia working the front side of that pack, trying to get out up along the high rail. Laura Stabs sneaks out on the low side. She's halfway around the track and coming in to score. Princess Leia getting knocked to the infield a couple times by the Coffin Draggers. And she's able to dance her way out. Oh, okay. Hattori Hanzo and Devil's Advocate out there again. Devil's Advocate tries up the middle, and she gets straight out. Hattori Hanzo stuck behind the wall. Zora La Bruja and the Destroyer, and then she gets out in turn 2. Devil's Advocate jumping underneath the pack and able to get her points, calls off the jam. The whole thing or half? Okay. Victoria Van Gore is the jammer for the Coffin Draggers, and she gets directly out. Quiver Phoenix trying the high side right now, stuck behind Tyranny, and she gets out in turn 2. Van Gore setting up her scoring pass. A little left, a little right, and she's through the pack, calls off the jam. Coffin Draggers able to pick up 4 points on that jam. Coffin Draggers also picking up a power jam on this jam. Devil's Advocate's going to skate that for them. She goes low, gets around Hattori Hanzo, and she's off to the races. Set. Devil's Advocate makes her first successful scoring pass. Solid wall of 4 Coffin Draggers. Holding back a goat, keeping that pack nice and slow. Alibi and Morning Madness trying to hold that jammer. These are the winnings, 227. Okay. Not sure why she gave them to us, but we have them. We can both sit here. Princess Leia coming back to the jammer line with Laura Stabs. Princess Leia trying the high side. Laura Stabs gets out on the low. And Princess Leia gets out in turn 2. Laura Stabs setting up her scoring run. Up, down, backwards through the pack, and gets off the track, gets on the track, calls off the jam.
Now setting up the jam is going to be Hittori Hanzo for the Brutal Beauties. And for the Coffin Draggers, that is the Destroyer.
The Destroyer.
And the Destroyer fighting her way to the front of the pack, runs into that pivot for the Brutal Beauties, and Dez is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Dez trying to find her way through the pack. They're able to, with some fancy footwork, to get out of the pack and score those points. Goes ahead and calls off the jam, looking at the clock. Hittori Hanzo was out of the pack as well for the Brutal Beauties.
Trauma back out on the jammer line for the Brutal Beauties. Devil's Advocate out there for the Coffin Draggers. Beauty's going to be down one blocker on this. Coffin Draggers have all 4 of theirs. Jam it, taking Devil's Advocate all the way down to the infield. It allows Beautiful Trauma to get out as your lead jammer. Devil's Advocate's not going to make this easy on her. She's closing fast. And Trauma calls it off just at the last minute.
No points for either side there. Devil's Advocate forcing the issue and forcing Beautiful Trauma to call off the jam before any points were scored.
Morning Madness out there on the line for the Beauties again. Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers. Van Gore tries the low. Morning Madness tries to follow her through. Gets out first. She's your lead jammer. Van Gore's right on her tail, though, so she calls off the jam.
So we'll set up again here for what's going to be the last jam of the third quarter. It's going to be Princess Leia for the Coffin Draggers. I'm sorry, Princess Leia for the Brutal Beauties is what I meant. For the Coffin Draggers, going to be Laura Stabs.
Princess Leia goes low and gets tied up by Zombaby and Panda Face Killer. But she's able to dance along the infield.
Tightly bunched pack now and emerging from the pack. There goes the star pass, and it's going to be Tyranny taking over as the jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Princess Leia out of the pack as well. And there we go. That is going to do it for the third quarter. We'll wait for the official scoring of that last jam. 3 points for the Coffin Draggers. 4 points for the Coffin Draggers. Takes our score to 265-22.
Last call for beer, folks. Take those empties over there and get them refilled. We got 4 minutes and 44 seconds left.
We've got our merchandise crew out there one more time, so let them hear it, fans. If you'd like to get yourself some swag from the Arizona Derby Dames. Some of our minor assaults out there ready to toss you a shirt.
Who wants a hat? Come on, put your hands together. You've got the hat. Now you can join the minor assaults. Are you a young lady between the ages of 10 to 17 who loves to skate, or do you know somebody like that? Our minor assaults are a nonprofit 501c3. We're always looking for new skaters to join the team. Our coaches teach not only technique and knowledge of the sport, but they also build leadership, teamwork, and problem-solving skills that will help out in life situations far beyond roller derby. Minor skating skills, a dedication to learn, and a positive mental attitude are all that we require. Come see what all the fun is all about. Ask any Derby dame how to get involved, or visit our website at azddinspire.org for information on donating or sponsoring the minor assaults. Come out and watch a practice. See if you want to join the team. What's up, brother? How you doing, Adam? Hey, folks, you saw them at halftime, but one of our sponsors here at the league is Above and Beyond Pallet Creations. They're repurposing pallets into art. They've created all of our signage here at the Hall of Dames. For information on how to commission work, see Bobby Ross, the coach of the Schoolyard Scrappers. You can also find them on Facebook at Above and Beyond Pallet Creations. It may be last call, but after this fourth quarter, the party doesn't stop. We're all headed to third space. Come join the Arizona Derby Dames official after party at its location at third space. They've got a cafe for food. They've got a bar, coffee, shops, and music. They're located at 1028 Grand Avenue. Go get yourself an ice cream stuffed donut. Get your raffle tickets out. I got another couple raffles here. Pink raffle ticket number 588675 and 588669. Pink raffle tickets 588669 and 665. I've also been told that tonight's winning 50-50 raffle winner is going to get $227 right here in my hot little hands. Somebody's got to win it. Grab those raffle tickets, numbers 588669 and 588675. You got prizes waiting for you, folks. All right, Derby fans, here comes the exciting fourth quarter action here at the Hall of Dames. Hittori Hanzo coming to the line for the Brutal Beauties, and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. Devil's Advocate gets knocked to the infield by Alibi, but then she's able to recover and get out.
Hittori Hanzo is hung up behind a couple of blockers there at the front end of the pack, trying to find her way through. Meanwhile, catching up to the pack, that is Devil's Advocate, finds an opening and gets on through the pack. Big collision, and Hattori Hanzo able to get out of the pack now. Devil's Advocate picks up one more scoring pass and calls off the jam. Looks like now we've got Damn It, Jam It for the Brutal Beauties and Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers. And Victoria Van Gore able to get out of the pack and is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Victoria Van Gore now coming around for a second scoring pass. The jammer for the Brutal Beauties still not out of the pack. As Victoria Van Gore makes her way through the pack again, 10 seconds left in this jam. And there goes Victoria Van Gore on her third scoring pass. It's a 15-point jam. It takes the Coffin Draggers up to 289 points. Looks like it's going to be Skeletina for the Coffin Draggers going up against Alibi for the Brutal Beauties.
Skeletina tries the high side, able to get a panty pass off to Devil's Advocate. Devil's Advocate hot on Alibi's tail, and Alibi has to call it off.
So next up we have Laura Stabs jamming for the Coffin Draggers, and for the Brutal Beauties, that's Princess Leia.
Princess Leia knocked to the infield by the panda-faced killer. Laura Stabs tries to find a hole down towards the bottom of the track. She can't. Held up behind Quiver Phoenix and Beautiful Trauma, but she's able to get out. Princess Leia held up behind the same wall of draggers that's been holding them up all night long. And Princess Leia able to get out. Tyranny coming around for with Laura Stabs, not Tyranny.
So 11 points for the Coffin Draggers takes him to exactly 300 points. It's going to be Hattori Hanzo for the Brutal Beauties and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers.
Devil's Advocate able to get out of the pack pretty rapidly. Hattori Hanzo, though, trying the high side. Held up behind Vava Doom and Craven Cadavers. Devil's Advocate sets up for a second scoring pass as Hattori Hanzo is able to get out, turn 3. Devil's Advocate able to get her points and call off the jam.
Setting up the jam now is going to be Beautiful Trauma for the Brutal Beauties, and for the Coffin Draggers, it's Victoria Van Gore. Victoria Van Gore is the lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Up and out of the pack she goes. Beautiful Trauma bumped off onto the infield there by Tyranny as Victoria Van Gore able to get through the pack on a scoring pass. 30 seconds to go in the jam. Beautiful Trauma not out of the pack yet, so Victoria Van Gore is going to try to get some more points on the board. And Victoria Van Gore slides through the pack partially on her butt, going through the pack there. Gets up after getting bumped off onto the infield to reestablish behind the pack and goes ahead and calls off the jam.
Morning Madness back on the line for the Brutal Beauties.
And it's going to be Skeletina jamming for the Coffin Draggers.
Skeletina able to get right out. Morning Madness trying to push her way through that pack, that wall forming up in front of her. Skeletina literally running into the back of the pack. Bouncing her way through. Alibi trying to hold her on the high side. A little help from Destroyer gets her out.
Morning Madness still hemmed in behind a solid wall of black jerseys. They're not able to get out with 18 seconds to go in the jam. Skeletina now on a scoring pass and gets right on by unnoticed and calls off the jam.
Destroyer doing her job as the offensive pivot right there, getting her jammer out.
Looks like we got Princess Leia for the Brutal Beauties and Laura Stabs for the Coffin Draggers. There's a big collision and Laura Stabs down to the ground and Princess Leia able to go right through the middle of the pack and is your lead jammer for the Brutal Beauties. Laura Stabs able to find her way to the front of the pack as well, so Princess Leia now trying to get to the pack before Laura Stabs gets to her. And Princess Leia calls it off as the pack was playing keep away. And we're going to have our 011 versus 101 battle one more time. A whole lot of binary numbers. Hittori Hanzo for the Brutal Beauties and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. And exiting the pack, there goes Devil's Advocate. Was trying to execute a star cover pass, but saw an opening and went ahead and took it. Just put it back on her head. Big collision along the back straightaway there. Hittori Hanzo is out of the pack for the Brutal Beauties, and Devil's Advocate calls it off.
What's that? Yeah. 9 points for the Coffin Draggers on that jam. Victoria Van Gore coming to the line for the Draggers, and Beautiful Trauma for the Brutal Beauties. Trauma trying to work her way through the middle there. Solid line of Coffin Draggers. She gets knocked to the infield. As Van Gore is able to get out. Lining up on a first scoring pass. Held up by a couple of her own teammates. Beautiful Trauma tries to follow her through, and the Coffin Draggers shut the door on that. Van Gore coming around for her second scoring pass. Van Gore working her way through the pack. Taken to the infield. Makes it out. 3 seconds left on this jam.
Setting up the jam now, it's going to be the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers, and for the Brutal Beauties, it's Alibi. Looks like once we got all the penalties sorted out, we did have a penalty called on the Brutal Beauties jammer there in the last jam. So it's a power jam for the Coffin Draggers with 3:58 to go in regulation. They swap out jammers, and one of their premier jammers, Devil's Advocate, takes the track for this power jam situation, and she's out of the pack.
Whoa.
Able to get by there. Those two blockers there at the front of the pack for the Brutal Beauties thought they had that one figured out. But Devil's Advocate just too fast. More success this time from those two blockers holding her up. She's still able to get by along the inside. Help arriving from her blockers now. Looks like they're going to try to shut things off with 20 seconds to go in this power jam. Devil's Advocate now down to the inside, able to jump over the leading skate of a blocker. And with 10 seconds left, I hear the bench saying more, so here she comes. And jumps over the outstretched leg of a blocker again and is able to get by in yet another scoring pass. .20 power jam for the Coffin Draggers pushes their score up to 367. It's going to be Princess Leia for the Brutal Beauties and Laura Stabs for the Coffin Draggers.
Laura Stabs gets out straight through the middle. Princess Leia tries to follow her, gets hung up by some Coffin Draggers, but she's able to make her way out.
Laura Stabs there trying to dash through the pack and took a tumble right up against the outer edge of the track. Calls it off from her knees. 2 minutes to go in regulation, and it looks like we've got Hitori Hanzo for the Brutal Beauties and again the Destroyer for the Coffin Draggers. The Destroyer. And along the inside, the Destroyer is out of the pack. And is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Destroyer getting a chance to jam here tonight. Usually keys a lot of their blocking schemes. But getting a chance to jam here with the score being a little out of reach. Up to the outside goes Dez, trying to find her way through now past those last two blockers. And they get pushed out of way. Pushed out of play.
Okay.
30 minutes to go. 30 minutes, my goodness. 30 seconds to go here in this jam. Your Beauty's blocker still in the back of the pack and has not gotten out. That's Hitori Hanzo. Destroyer trying to find her way through at the front of the pack. Now runs into a solid wall of pink jerseys. As we are under a minute to go in regulation here. And the Destroyer goes ahead and calls it off there, entering the first turn. And it looks like we've got Beautiful Trauma for the Brutal Beauties and Devil's Advocate for the Coffin Draggers. This jam gets underway. Quickly to the front of the pack goes Devil's Advocate, and she is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. Beautiful Trauma lost her balance there and ended up on the infield, so just to be safe, reestablishes back along the track a little bit. And that's going to do it. Looks like the jam is called by Devil's Advocate along the back straightaway. And the game clock has reached quadruple zeros, so we will take a look at the penalty situation here. If there are penalties on both sides, then the game is over. If there's only penalties on the team that's ahead, then we keep going forward with more penalty jams. So we'll wait and see once everybody checks in, the outside pack referees All the referees on the infield. And that's going to do it with that signal from head referee Lollipop. The Coffin Draggers, not really ever in doubt, were in control from the outset. Your final score, Coffin Draggers 387, Brutal Beauties 22. Fans, come on down trackside and get ready to slap hands with your favorite skaters as they come on around. We're also going to be giving away the last raffle prizes here. We have to stress the importance of this. If you're here and you win a prize or the cash prize, put your hand up, wave your ticket, hoot and holler, make noise, because we are going to give these prizes away quick. So we will be giving these away and redrawing in like 5 seconds when we do. As the Coffin Draggers come on around, as we said, go ahead and let them know job well done.
Don't forget, folks, the next Derby bout is January 5th. It's going to see a battle for number 1, the Coffin Draggers and the Runaway Brides. Don't miss it.
Okay. And now let's hear it for the Brutal Beauties. You heard at the beginning a lot of their regular skaters not skating tonight due to injury or other reasons. A lot of subs out there. That's the ones that you see with a different style of number on their back. So pulled it together to help the Beauties feel the full team tonight. Still operated as a unit, and a good job by them.
All right, folks, I got some raffle tickets here. Raffle tickets, going to raffle off some prizes. Ticket number 588591. Yo, winner. I got a ticket number 588692. 588692. Somebody over on the right.
I think Abby won.
And number 5